So anytime I go to actually do a review, I don't necessarily know where I'm supposed to draw the line in terms of spoilers, because to me, if something happens in the first few chapters, I consider it not to be a spoiler to tell you about it, and I'm not really good with synopsis. So that being said, let's talk about Hooked. So I'm generally not a fan of fantasy retellings because I always feel like already know these established characters, and seeing them doing things that are not what I'm used to, it's kind of weird for me. When it comes to Hooked, this is sort of a fantasy retelling, but not really. The only things that are similar are really the names and sort of how they go inside. So Hook is a bar owner, and his bar is called the Jolly Roger. Then he has like a co-captain on his boat that he lives on named Smee. The girl, her name is Wendy. Her father is Peter, like Peter Pan, and her brother's John. And the father's assistant is Tink Bell. I forgot, or something like that, like Tinkerbell. However, pretty much where everything kind of stops, because that's the only way you kind of have an idea of it being like Captain Hook. He has a hook knife, which is kind of cool, but other than that, it's really not a fantasy thing. So that's why I really enjoyed it. I liked seeing the little nods to things, but not necessarily being like, okay, this is Captain Hook kind of thing. They did have some quotes that were reminiscent of Peter Pan and Captain Hook and Neverland and stuff like that. This book I enjoyed because whenever I encounter a book where there's a miscommunication, I cannot stand when it goes on for a long period of time. Like when somebody could have just easily been like, yeah, this is what you think happened. However, this is what actually happened. And they actually have a conversation. There was a miscommunication, and they actually figured it out like pretty in a decent amount of time, like in a logical way. Hook was pretty cool. I liked Hook because for me, I'm very much of a toucher and you unalive type of person. I love those. So even though he's a bad guy, he's morally gray. This book was all about him kind of seeking revenge on Wendy's dad because of something that happened in his past. So it follows Hook and Wendy and their different perspectives of the situation that's going on. I thought it was really really good. The end is a little unbelievable for something. However, it's not terrible. It's basically like really she did that, but it made the plot move along, and it got to where you needed to be. And I like the writing. The writing was pretty good. Nothing was really too repetitive. So, and as I said, the miscommunication and the damsel things wasn't really like pronounced in this book. So I really really enjoyed that. But this was free on Kindle and on Audible, so I did an immersion read of it, and I highlighted this like a lot. That was my first book for February's romance month. As for Hooked, I think it was a 4-star read. It was enjoyable, and I would go back and read it again, but it didn't like pull on my heartstrings really enough to be like, yes, this is like the best book ever kind of thing. It was good. I definitely I would recommend it.